Hey again YouTube, StickGuy187 back again. So I purchased the Cold Steel Norse Hawk, and I decided that I didn't like that tactical black coating that was on it. I was trying to sharpen it on a diamond stone, and I noticed that that tactical black bake on kind of, I think it's an enamel-based coating, I know it's anti-rust, was getting in the way. It's actually quite tough stuff. So I'm going to actually strip mine. I'm going to strip the head. I might actually patina the head. Truthfully, I'm kind of waffling on that. And then I'm going to customize the handle. I'll probably still wrap the handle in hockey tape, and I will show it to you guys when it's all done. So let's go to me stripping the head. And once I've done all that, I will show you guys the final product, and if there's any tips or anything that I've discovered along the way, I'll share them with you too. So here we go. So you're going to need a few things if you're going to modify your Cold Steel axe head like I'm going to do. The first thing you're going to need is a way to remove the set screw if you're using it. So just a regular screwdriver. I've already removed that, so I'm going to set it aside. You're going to need a way to take off the axe head if it's on there really tight. So a rubber mallet's pretty handy. If you don't have a rubber mallet, you can just whack it on a table until it loosens up. I've already taken the varnish off of here and actually test wrapped it with some hockey tape that left some residue. But I've decided I'm going to do a burn pattern and etch into it, so I'll probably do some work with a gouge or a lathe. But you don't need the handle, so set it aside. You'll need the stripping agent. Just make sure that whatever you get is strong enough. I recommend talking to your local hardware or paint expert to pick up something that will take off an enamel or possibly a powder coat. You can strip those off, they just require work. You'll need something to put the axe head in. So I just went ahead and picked up one of these cheap little takeout dinner metal trays at the dollar store. Also at the dollar store I picked up some dishwashing gloves, because your regular latex gloves, some of the stripping agents that you'll be using will eat through it in a second. You'll need something to take off the stripping agent and the paint, so just a little scraper and a little brush to get on the inside. You'll also need something to apply your stripping agent. They recommend a fairly thick coat, especially if it's a gel stripping agent. So also at the dollar store I just picked up some really cheap nylon brushes. I picked up a few different sizes so that I can ensure I get the inside as well as the outside, because there is some overspray. Alright, so safety first. Now the stripping agent is pretty strong, and it actually recommends that you put a rag over top of the head while you open it, just in case it's pressurized. And given how toxic this stuff is supposed to be, I'm gonna believe them. Regular old shop rag. Alright. Okay. So that's that. Setting aside the cap. Now this is a gelatin or jelly stripping agent. So I'm going to I am not reshooting this. Liberally pour some of the stripping agent. You can see how goopy that is. This stuff actually says don't do it in really low temperature environment. You can pretty much figure out why. It is not going to spread well if you do that. And then spread on whatever you're stripping. Now the stuff is pretty goopy. It's going to be my new word of the day. So you could even leave some at the bottom of your tray and set this in there. Now the tray itself should survive all of this. This is just a stripping agent, which will probably actually destroy the nylon bristles in this paintbrush, which is why I decided to get really cheap dollar store crap. Put that down on the rag. Paint on some of this. Don't let this stuff dry out. if it dries out, you'll end up with a really shitty finish. Now you can see this is already starting to strip away the paint. See? And it's only been on there minutes. Wow, okay, not even a minute, sorry. Seconds, I meant to say. So, I'm going to just make sure it's on everywhere on this one side. We'll work on the other side afterwards. Use the cardboard that this came in to rest my brush on so I don't get this shit all over the place. Sorry for swearing so much, guys. See how good it's coming off? Oh yeah. I'm going to let that sit for a little bit. I'm hoping you guys can actually see this. If not, you can see there. Sorry, you can see there. And we're going to just make sure we don't spread this stuff around. I'm going to grab one of the smaller brushes. There's a little bit of spillover on here. Brush that and get that on the inside of my axe head. And what we're going to do after this is once I've stripped off all the paint, I'm actually going to patina the axe head because I do like an antique look to it. I'm not going to make it look brass or bronze or anything. I'm going to make it look like I found this thing, you know, out in the backyard, back 40 or something like that when I was digging around. And I thought it'd make an awesome axe. So we're going to let that sit for 5 or 10 minutes. And then we're going to come back. And we're going to see how it is. And I am not going to bore you with making you sit through the whole stripping action because, well, that'd be evil even for me. Okay, so here we are about 10 minutes, actually about 12 minutes later. And as you guys can see, let me grab my pickup stick. Just a chunk of wire. It's definitely started stripping off the paint. Let's see on the back side how good it's done. So this was the side I wasn't brushing it on. I'm using a piece of wood to scrape off the extra paint. Alright, so the back side actually looks like that. You can see this is just where it was sitting, and this is where there was no stripper applied. Why am I using a piece of wood? I just picked it up as I was walking in. If you use a piece of plastic or something like that, this will work just as well. It's actually really nice steel. I don't know why they wanted to cover it up, other than the fact that it's high carbon and might actually rust. But, yeah, let's take a look at this. Okay, little steel brush here. That way it's not going to fall down, at least not on anything I can keep. Okay, so there's a bit of a niff, as my British friends would say, coming off of this. Bit of a smell, kind of strong, astringent. So don't keep your face right over top of it like I was doing there for the first couple of minutes. But yeah, it's taken off. You can see most of the paint. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply this to the rest of this and prop it up with the piece of wood so that I can get everything covered. And I will come back to you guys when I've got everything done. Okay, so got a little tip that it's not a bad idea to actually soak a cloth in that jelly stripper, because it's supposed to allow you to get a complete coverage and also let you get everything off without too much effort, and it keeps everything from drying out. So let's see how well that worked out. As you can see, I do have most of the paint off it already. Let's see what we can get off with the last little bit. Wire brush. It's beautiful steel. I don't know why you'd ever want to cover it up. Alright. Block the camera a bit. Okay, so you can see there's a little bit of work. get almost all, if not completely all, of that black Tacticool paint off your axe head. Now there's only a little bit of overspray on the interior, so I don't really have to worry about it in there. We've got a beautiful steel that you can, well, you could repaint it if you wanted it. Paint it whatever color you'd like. I'm going to patina mine. Now I'm looking at this steel and I'm wondering if it's maybe not worthwhile to get another axe head and just strip it clean and leave it like that. So guys, I've got the final product. Stripped the head, I've customized the handle a little bit, and I've wrapped it in hockey tape. I've actually done a spray-on varnish rather than the paint-on stuff that I was showing you, just to seal the steel, say that 3 times fast, and to seal up the wood a little bit. I decided to not patina it because the stripping agent itself actually allowed a little bit of oxygenation, yes, rusting of the blade, and came out a beautiful, almost bronze color to it. So I'll show you that in a second. But a couple of tips. The stripping agent that I used actually acted like a contact poison. Be very careful when you're using the stripping agents. Make sure you read it completely. This one actually didn't say it was a contact poison, that it could be absorbed through the skin, but I discovered that much to my chagrin later that night when I got some on my hand, and it absorbed through the skin. I was actually quite sick for about 5 or 6 hours after that. 2 in the morning I stopped vomiting. So keep your gloves on at all times, and if any part of you starts to tingle or anything like that while you're doing this, stop. Stop, go wash your hands, sit out for a little bit. So yeah, just be careful with that stuff. Maybe use the more natural stripping agents. Just be aware they're going to take a lot longer, and you might actually have to reapply the stripping agent multiple times, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. But it might be safer for you, especially if you have little ones or pets. So just something to be aware of. Also, a friend of mine gave me a great tip. Get a freezer bag, a really heavy-duty freezer bag. Put the stripping agent in that freezer bag, and then put your axe head or your knife or whatever you want to strip the black coating off in there. Seal it up. Sealing it up will keep it from drying out. You'll also have everything contained in one location. Then you just pull it out, clean off the gunk. If it needs to be reapplied, put it back in, seal it up, set it aside. Just always make sure that you try and put your bag into something that you don't really care about. You know, put it on tinfoil, put it in one of these things. Something along those lines, just in case. Not all freezer bags are made, equal. And depending on the stripping agent you use, it might actually be one that eats through plastic as well. But it actually is a great idea, and thanks so much to Mark for that. Now, final product. The final unveiling. So like I said, I just kept it nice and simple. I took off the black, and you can actually see, bring it a little closer so you can see it a little bit better. You actually see the heat line, where the differential heat treatment was. So it's ended up with a nice little, let's see if I can get a glint for you, almost a bronzing color to it, almost like there was a little bit of high nickel or brass or tin in this. So I've actually sealed this off with a spray-on varnish, and I've done the same thing on the handle, just a quick little coat of spray-on varnish, just to keep it from, well, basically aging too much, but I still want it to age a little bit over time. So I didn't put a very thick coat, one quick spray on both sides, let it dry, and that was it. For the handle, I'm going to bring it close again. I actually took the Dremel, because I don't have access to some of my tools right now. I took the Dremel and I just ground in basically handle grooves for the length of where I usually hold my axe to either quick chop or full chop. And I've actually done slightly varying depths and slightly varying types For up higher here, I find that I actually want a little bit of a wider, but not quite as deep groove, so I've done that for about 2 inches, and then the rest of them are, you know, about, say, 1/3 of a centimeter deep. But yeah, this is, as I trip on my stool, this is the final product. I'm going to do up a Kydex sheath for it. I haven't quite decided on how I want to hang it, but once I do that, I will do up a video on the sheath, and I might do up a how to Kydex your axe and how to Kydex your knife video if I can find the time. But yeah, this is my modified Cold Steel Norse Hawk. I'll do a review on it as soon as I can, but I just wanted to show you guys the changes that I've made to it. And, you know, if you guys have done some modifications yourself to a Cold Steel product, or, you know, you've got a tomahawk you want to show off, please feel free to share it with me. If you like these kind of videos, please click like, subscribe, and share this video as much as you possibly can. Please. Please. Because it's always great to have your guys' support. So, until next time, guys, I'm Stick Guy 187. Stay sharp. Or else.